come up here to the wife's job because she locked her keys in the car. But anywho's it, what I wanted to discuss is something that Kawi Katana gave a conversation in reference to a blog that he heard as well too, and it was in reference to PTSD after accidents. I believe, if I say this, that I won't be too off. A lot of us have had accidents. A lot of us who ride have been in an accident. Dread being in one, don't want to get in one, definitely don't want to get in one when you got a brand new bike, but we've been in accidents, and none of us wanted to be in one. Sometimes, yeah, it was our fault. Sometimes it was someone else's fault. To talk about PTSD for a rider after an accident, I myself wouldn't label it that. And I don't mean any disrespect. Yes, post-traumatic stress syndrome disorder either are something that derived from an actual incident that happened to you, and it causes a lot of emotional stress. It could be a physical thing that happened. It could be an emotional thing that happened. And it could be all of the above that happened. But I won't say that persons that are involved in motorcycle accidents are suffering from PTSD because they won't get back on another bike. I can't sit here and tell you that that is the case or not the case. I'm only here to say my opinion on that matter. So, for instance, I'm a veteran. I won't sit here and say that other veterans, females, males, that are suffering from PTSD are the only ones that should be able to, quote-unquote, carry that tag, because I can guarantee you no one wants to carry it. I'm only stating what I feel is my opinion when it comes to referencing, hello ladies, when it comes to referencing actually a person that's on a motorcycle having an accident and not wanting to ride, that we say they suffer from PTSD. Or they may have PTSD, and this is causing them to not want to ride. But well, back to what I can really speak on. Not to brag, and I'm not going to brag, because I wish I had not experienced any of them. But I've been in a few accidents. And the one that I will actually speak on is the one that I think affected me the most. While stationed overseas, it's really not overseas to me, but it was in the military. I was stationed over in Puerto Rico. I had a motorcycle accident where I was actually run over by a vehicle. And when I say run over, I do mean in every term, literally, I was run over. It was a Mazda MPV. She wanted to make a U-turn around to cut into an actual gas station that was right across from the turn. And I had on shorts, tank top, and the new Nike 3/4 crossover hiking shoes. Them hiking shoes were the bomb. I loved them. Anyway, that's besides the point. That's all I had on as I was riding. So, anywho's it, I am riding on the right-hand lane out of the two lanes. She's doing a U-turn to cut into the actual gas station. And as she does a U-turn, I was told she hit me like this and continued to keep going and drag, all right, and rode over me. What I can tell you is that my forks on my bike were no longer like this, but they were tweaked and twisted back under the frame. My helmet had fractures in it like spider fractures, and that was from what the officer stated. She ran over my helmet with her rear tire from what the witnesses stated too. All I know is that I suffered memory loss, short-term memory loss. It was difficult. It was very difficult, to be honest with you. I couldn't remember people. I didn't remember that I was married. I knew my wife, and luckily she wasn't there at the time. She had already came stateside to prepare for us to actually move back here to the States. And I'm being honest when I tell you this. I was scared shitless because I could not actually remember that we were married. Like I said, I remembered her, but I couldn't remember we were married. And I also could not remember a lot of people that I had just met within that time frame. So that was the other part that made the memory loss even worse. Now, I was told that it would come back in time. Could not give me an actual time that it would come back, but it would. And I'd have to be patient. So, as I stated, it was short term. I can't tell you I ever got it all back. But I do tell you this for a fact. This is exactly what I got back from that. I got back on a bike in less than 3 months. Now, in all honesty, it may have been shorter than 3 months, but I had to ride. And I went back and I got on a bike and I started riding. The thing is now is that I was not at full capacity when I went riding. And when I say that, I wasn't at full capacity when I went riding with my judgment, with me feeling comfortable actually riding. Now, I didn't take 3 months to get back on the bike because I was contemplating riding again. I took 3 months to get what needed to be repaired on my bike, and then I jumped back on it and started riding. I just was not that guy that was riding around the base, knee dragging with no pads, riding down the street in Puerto Rico with no gear on, no pants, just shorts, tank top, and a helmet. I didn't do that anymore. I wasn't afraid to do it, but I was more cautious and concerned with other drivers. I was well over it with just being cool with people who were driving a car next to me. That wasn't going to be okay. I was not feeling comfortable about that at all. Everybody was suspect. I didn't care. I never wanted to be behind people like this. I always passed and went. I wanted to ride. I had to ride. Actually, that was my attitude. It wasn't easy. But as I stated, I was not at full capacity to ride like I used to. So I think that people may have an issue or may come upon a situation of getting back on a bike after an accident and have a fear, but the choice is theirs. I mean, they can ride if they want to. They don't have to if they don't want to. They can go down to something smaller, or they may change the entire type of motorcycle that they ride totally. It's their choice. But I can't say that it does impact their decision to ride or doesn't. I can only speak on my behalf. That accident did not impact my position on riding again. It impacted how I rode. I mean, I wasn't even fit for duty by the medic, and I started back riding. And that's really the case. That's the truth. I wasn't classified as fit for duty yet, and I started back riding. So if someone has an accident or is in a major accident and they decide to, or if they sit back and they're contemplating riding again or not riding at all, don't encourage them to do either. Just support them where they stand. If they're not sure, then tell them, take your time. You don't have to jump right back on a bike this year. You don't have to jump back on a bike next year. So I just think it depends. It really, truly depends. I think that as riders, as a community, if that's what we want to call ourselves, someone goes down and has an accident and they're talking to you and saying, I don't think I'm going to ride again, you're not always right by telling them to jump back on the saddle to get over the fear, because they could be a menace to themselves and a true danger to someone else if they're not ready to get back on that bike. If I went down right now on my motorcycle, would I ride again? I definitely would. But it depends on how I went down on if I would ride again. And what I mean by that is, if I went down and did some really serious damage to myself, then I'm not going to be jumping on the bike anytime soon. Obviously, I'm going to have to get better. I'll have to get my body better. The circumstances are just those. I mean, in all honesty, that's it. So, anywho, if a person is suffering from PTSD because of an accident that they have on their motorcycle, and this may impair them from getting another bike, my feeling on that is just to say one thing. If you are truly their friend, and you truly care about them, support them on whatever decision they're making, but also stick by and ask them the serious questions. Are you sure you don't want to ride again? Are you sure you just want to go ahead and take a break? You don't want to just take a break and maybe wait till later? Are you sure you really want to get back on this bike right now? Just support them in that way. That's all I can think of. Other than that, it's your boy Dragonchi. Appreciate you listening. Appreciate you giving me the topic as well, too, Kawi Katana. And we'll talk to you soon. Later. Peace.
And that's the way the news goes.